Folks, we have a government that has been weaponized against the American people. I cannot stress this enough. This is the insurrection, folks. This is the government taking over our country. Okay, it is becoming totalitarian. It is becoming Marxist. It is becoming a system you do not want. And I'm telling you, I see the pattern. I see it. I read this stuff all day long. And this Donald Trump indictment is nothing but a distraction, folks. It's nothing but a distraction. I said that in the very beginning, and we're going to be getting into that next show. So I want to read some things that I got on how tyrants can rise to power without immediate pushback from the people. Number one is manipulation and propaganda. So tyrants often employ tactics to manipulate public opinion, control information, and spread propaganda to create a favorable image of themselves and their agenda. Folks, this is exactly what we're watching right now. The Democratic Party and the leftists, the corrupt government, is using the media like a tool to not only bludgeon Republicans, but also manipulate public opinion. Like the Russia collusion hoax, like this climate change hysteria. They are using the media as a manipulation tactic to manipulate public opinion. Propaganda. Okay, they control the information, just like what Nancy Pelosi did. She was the only one that had any of the footage and any of the data or any of the facts about January 6th. So she got to handpick and select what she wanted to release, and she released them selectively to make it look a certain way. That is propaganda, folks. And when you have a media that comes out and repeats the same talking points over and over and over again as if it was scripted by the same damn person, that is propaganda. And what do they do best? They make the Biden administration look good. Nothing Joe Biden can do is wrong. Even though he's had classified documents in his garage and all throughout Delaware, it's Donald Trump that they want to take down. Joe Biden did nothing wrong. Same thing with Hillary Clinton. Same thing with Barack Obama. You see what I'm saying, folks? They're trying to create a favorable image of themselves and their agenda. They want to convince you that solar panels and windmills are a great idea, even though it's their lobbyists and donors that are owned these manufacturing companies, and a lot of them are from China. So their great agenda details you giving millions and billions of dollars, your money, to companies in China for windmills and solar panels that they know aren't going to replace fossil fuels. So that's one tactic. Number two, exploiting societal divisions. By exploiting existing divisions such as economic disparities, ethnic or religious tensions, or political rivalries, tyrants can gain support from certain groups within society while suppressing dissent. Boom. That is exactly what they're doing with the leftists. These people out there calling Donald Trump a traitor and essentially ignoring everything Joe Biden does, these radical leftists are their support. This is their group to get their message pushed, essentially like the Stasi back in East Germany. So they exploit existing divisions. So like what? Like race wars. Every time before an election, they start this black and white division because Democrats know that's the only way they're going to get votes is if by working up the African American community in our country. That's how they get votes. And I'm telling you folks, mark my words, mark the date. It is 6/11/2023. The Democratic Party or the government establishment will cook up a race war. You will see it a year before the election, and I think it's going to start soon. That's why we're seeing these feds, these Nazi rallies popping up everywhere. So, such as economic disparities. Well, the economy sucks right now. And so what they're going to do is they're going to try and convince you, hey, vote for us and we'll forgive your college loans. Hey, vote for us and we'll give you free stuff like a free Tesla and all this other stuff. Or ethnic or religious tensions. But what they're not saying in this one, and this came from artificial intelligence, folks. So what they're not saying from this one is the transgenderism ideology. They're going to use that hard. They're going to use this transgender ideology and abortion and stuff like that to divide the people. And this is what gets me the most. Tyrants can gain support from certain groups within society while suppressing dissent. What are they doing, folks? They are suppressing the dissenters. They do not want to hear anybody from the other side. They will not let people like RFK Jr. speak. They will not let anybody that goes against the grain speak up or have a platform. Look at what they're doing to Donald Trump. He is their biggest threat. He is the threat to their entire system, and they know it, folks. That is why they're doing insane, radical stuff this country has never seen before to get rid of him. He is not a threat to the people. Donald Trump is a threat to them, And that is why they want to get rid of them. All right, so number 3, a weak democratic institutions. In cases where democratic institutions are weak or compromised, tyrants can exploit loopholes in the system, rig elections, or consolidate power through unconstitutional means. What do you think they're doing right now? They're trying to federalize our elections, folks. It's so blatant and obvious right in here. Look what they did in the 2020 election and how they pushed out mass mail-in ballots and ballot drop boxes all over the country to essentially exploit loopholes in the system. That is what they did. That wasn't illegal. So what they did is people like Mark Elias Perkins Coie went around the country into these state legislatures and had them change the law, had them change how we do our elections. And so they exploited those loopholes like mail-in balloting and drop boxes, okay, and rigging elections. I think we can all pretty much rest assured that 2020 was not a secure election. That was not fair. There was something wrong with that election. And one day it's going to come out, folks. One day it's going to come out. And consolidate power through unconstitutional means. What do you think they're doing right now? They're consolidating power. What did they do during the vaccine mandates? How did they do that? They used OSHA to get those vaccine mandates through. This is how tyrants operate, folks. This is what's freaking me out, and this is why I'm sharing it with you. They used OSHA to issue vaccine mandates. They're using the EPA to stifle energy production, like coal-fired power plants, okay, and natural gas plants. They're using these government institutions to essentially regulate entire sectors to death. If they don't want it, they'll just regulate it and they'll use a government institution to do it. They don't do anything unilaterally. Well, except Joe Biden thinks he can do it sometimes with the eviction moratorium. You guys remember that? They essentially allowed people to stay in their homes without paying rent and then forced the owners of the property to just bite the bullet. Insane stuff. That is essentially taking people's private property away. This is how this happens, folks. This is how tyrants rise to power. Okay, number 4, suppression of opposition. This one's really freaky. Tyrants frequently employ repressive measures to silence opposition voices, such as arresting political opponents, censoring media, or using violence against dissenters. Oh my God, folks. This one is crazy. So look what they're doing to Donald Trump. Silencing the opposition voices. They constantly censor. Constantly, folks. The biggest example of this is the Twitter files, when the United States government got caught colluding with Twitter in censoring the Hunter Biden laptop story weeks before the election. You guys remember that? If it was not for Elon Musk buying Twitter, we would not know any of this. They would have pushed that stuff under the rug. And I guarantee you, if it was that bad in Twitter, think of what Facebook looked like. I guarantee you, we know for a fact now, folks, it is a fact, a proven fact, you can look it up, that government institutions like the FBI and other government entities colluded with Twitter to stifle and censor speech. This is what tyrants do, man. I'm looking at it right now. So they censor the media. The New York Post story with Hunter Biden laptop story. That is the first time I have ever in my entire life seen a news outlet like the New York Post, one of the oldest news outlets in our country, going all the way back to our founders, be censored completely. They had their Twitter account banned, abolished, until they went through the struggle session. Okay, they were completely banned. No channels to share the story whatsoever. This is crazy. And then look at Tucker Carlson.
Rupert Murdoch has a special obligation to stop Tucker Carlson from going on tonight now that he's seen how he has perverted and slimed the truth, and from letting him go on again and again and again.
The most effective voice on that entire channel was fired because he was talking about things they didn't want you to hear. And using violence against dissenters. That's Antifa, folks. That's Antifa and BLM in 2020. We watched these people go around and burn cities down, man. Nobody's going to sit here and tell me that January 6th was some crazy insurrection, while simultaneously completely ignoring the BLM riots of 2020, the Antifa riots of 2020. Folks, $44 billion in damage was done. People were murdered. Cop cars firebombed. Courthouses firebombed. Houses, apartments firebombed. Burned down. Stores rioting, looting, stealing, killing. This is the violence against dissenters. And you wait and see. You wait and see what else happens come 2024 election. This stuff is going to get wild, folks. I want to hurry up and get through these. I got one more. So this is the last one, fear and intimidation. The use of fear and intimidation tactics can discourage people from openly opposing the tyrant, as they may fear persecution, imprisonment, or even loss of their lives. How many people you think are willing to go protest on the Capitol anymore? Why not? Could it have anything to do with political prisoners sitting and rotting in jail right now for people that didn't even do anything, that just showed up there at the protest and they're rotting away in jail in a federal prison? Thousands of people, folks, thousands. They're being locked away right now. Why? Not for punishment, but to send a message. You protest anything we do here in this government, we will take care of you. And that's the stuff of tyrants, folks, with persecution, imprisonment, or even loss of their lives. Loss of their lives, folks. This federal government, this federal justice system is locking people away for years for protesting their government. Do I even need to mention Donald Trump? Look what they're doing to him. This is why Donald Trump always says, they're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way. And the truer words have not been spoken, folks. That man is in the way. And as soon as they got him out of the way, they're coming for you next. They're going to be coming for me. They're going to be coming for all these independent media outlets. All of them. On my last show, we talked about how they're using artificial intelligence to silence podcasters, to essentially to ban podcasters, to censor them, using PolitiFact and Snopes. This is it, folks. That was the 5 things of how tyrants rise to power without any pushback from the people. This is what happens. This is the tactics they're following. I cannot be any more clear. I just went through 5 examples, 5 tactics of what they do. And in every single one can point to something that the government is doing right now. The government's using people. The government's using the Democratic Party. They're using the media. And not only that, but these crazy ass people on the left, these people that want to see MAGA supporters rounded up and sent to re-education camps. You guys, you know what? I'll prove it. I'll show you what these people think of Trump supporters. I screenshot a message that I was talking to somebody on Twitter, and I'm going to read to you exactly what she said. This person wrote, "Another lunatic Trumper. It's going to take a long time, but if one by one is the only way, we have a lot of work to do." There you go, folks. That's your fellow American. That person that wrote that comment is the person in these tactics right here. A person that has been completely subdued, completely submersed in this movement, this democratic establishment corrupt system. You know, folks, even the Nazis had supporters. Even Hitler had supporters in those crowds. He didn't rise to power by himself, folks. He had a lot of people supporting what he was doing. And how did that turn out? And it's people like this one that just wrote that message I just left you. After all the damage has been done and people's lives are destroyed and this country is a heaping pile of rubble, they get to just recede back into the shadows of society without ever having to admit that they supported it. These people are supporting tyranny. They are supporting the rise of a totalitarian regime. They are supporting Marxism. These are the supporters that are watching this country burn to the ground and watching a totalitarian regime rise to power.